welcome to Not Now in Theaters. Whether it's an underrated B-movie, a cult classic, or an underseen foreign film, this podcast is a highlight reel of movies past you might want to know more about and why. My name is Will Turntail, and I'm a writer and film fan from California. This episode is about The Raid, or The Raid, Redemption, depending on which title you've seen. For the unfamiliar, it's a low-budget martial arts movie from Indonesia that rocked the action and martial arts genres enough that they've never been the same since. I hate to hype things, but just picture yourself on your couch or chair in front of your screen with your hair blowing wildly from the force of what you're witnessing, and that will give you an image of how this movie felt for me. So I'm excited to tell you why this movie is a landmark and a total blast. A quick statement before we begin. Making films is hard, and you have to respect that. This is a fan's blog, so any criticisms are meant to be constructive. Alright, with that taken care of, let's go to the show. The Raid Redemption Review. This Indonesian martial arts flick makes other action movies look tame. Officer Rama and the Mobile Brigade Corps are trapped in a small apartment of a 30-floor building, under siege from its bloodthirsty tenants. They hear footsteps. The mob upstairs has broken through the makeshift barricade. Now they are about to drop down the hole in the ceiling. Spotting the threat, an officer breaks into a full sprint. He catches a falling thug in midair and rams him straight through a 6th-floor window. That's the tone of the breathless, brutal action in Gareth Evans' The Raid Redemption. This movie hits so hard they should ship an oxygen mask with the Blu-ray. One part high-octane martial arts film, one part survival horror, sans zombies or the supernatural. Many action fans rank The Raid among the most influential films in the genre. And despite the hype, it leaps straight over my expectations. But it isn't a tasteless high body count or tacky blood splatters that makes it a must-watch. It's over the top, but grounded in gritty, desperate realism. The skilled filmmaking here deserves recognition, along with the all-out pacing and some of the best hand-to-hand fighting captured on film. And The Raid was made for a little over $1 million, about 0.5% the budget of your average Marvel movie. So is The Raid Redemption a good movie? Note, this review is for The Raid Redemption, released in the US by Sony Pictures Classics, not the original Indonesian release of The Raid. But I believe the expanded title and new soundtrack by Mike Shinoda and Joseph Trapanese are the only differences. The plot of The Raid Redemption. In the slums of Jakarta, criminal overlord Tama Riata operates a 30-floor apartment building that acts as a safe haven for the city's worst thugs and gangsters. Rookie Brimob member Rama and the rest of a 20-man squad, led by Sergeant Jaka and Lieutenant Wayu, launch a surprise raid to take Tama down. When Tama discovers the police have infiltrated his building, he offers a reward to any of his tenants who help him dispose of the invaders. With their cover blown, no backup in sight, and a small army of thugs raining down on them, Rama and his teammates' only option is to fight their way out. A fun fact about the plot here, people often compare the plot of The Raid to being pretty much the same plot in principle as you see in Dredd. I think it's just a coincidence and there was some kind of parallel thought between the movies. I don't think either one actually took it from the other, but for whatever it's worth, I think The Raid actually came out first. But getting into the cast here, and forgive me if I mispronounce any names, I'm always doing my best here. Tama Riata is played by Ray Sahatepy. Rama is played by Iko Uwais. And Sergeant Jaka is played by Joe Taslim. Yayan Ruhian plays Mad Dog, and Donny Alamsyah plays Andy. And you can read the rest of the main cast in the transcript for this episode. And if you'd like to watch a trailer to better get a sense of what the movie is like, you can watch one at this point in the transcript, I believe through Sony Pictures Classics over on YouTube. Okay, so now that you understand the plot, let's talk about what I liked and didn't quite like about the movie. I'll toss out some points for what excels and deduct for the things I didn't think worked as well, and we'll total up the points at the end. Good thing number 1, Pencak Silat and mixed martial arts choreography, plus 10 points. Tony Jaa's furious knee and elbow strikes in the classic Ong Bak Muay Thai warrior forever demonstrated the power and beauty of Muay Thai, and probably raised enrollment in kickboxing classes everywhere. Similarly, The Raid is a showcase for a mix of Indonesian martial arts known as pencak silat. The main character, Rama, and Tama's muscle, Mad Dog, primarily fight with pencak silat. They fire exhilarating kicks, punches, grappling, and knife fighting. But rather than confining itself to one martial arts discipline, the choreography is fluid. Fighting techniques shift based on the character or the space they occupy. For example, as actor Joe Taslim was a real-life judo champion, his Sergeant Jaka adopted a grappling style in his combat. And in the freewheeling carnage of the drug lab scene, officers Rama, Daegu, and Wayu fearlessly rampage through the area like a wrecking ball, steamrolling the goons who run it using pencak silat, taekwondo, and a brawling style, respectively. Led by lead actors Uwais and Ruhian, the meticulous fight choreography, natural to each character, adds to the realism in the film and creates a more diverse spectacle for the audience. And it looks like it hurts. All the time. You can watch a clip of a hallway fight from the film on YouTube over at Rotten Tomatoes coming soon. Good thing number 2, nobody was kung fu fighting, plus 3 points. With its realistic approach, The Raid sets itself apart from many classic martial arts movies. Opponents are attacking each other, not dueling. The classic tropes are missing. Nobody has a bearded master they hope not to disappoint, a corny super secret move, or wants to prove Crane style will overcome Tiger's Paw. There is no Yen Wu Ping artful wire work, such as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or stylized gun fu a la John Woo, director of films like Hard Boiled. Martial arts are employed out of desperation as a means of survival. Then it's anything goes. Characters smash, stab, or fling each other with or into anything they can find. And it largely swerves the martial arts cliche of 20 people attacking the hero, but only one at a time so they can defeat them all. The behind-the-scenes production blog mentions that unless a character on camera is down and injured, they're in the fight. And our heroes do something pretty novel in action films. They run away sometimes. You can check out some behind the scenes of the film with the link here in the transcript on YouTube at Crunchyroll Store Australia. Good thing number 3, intense sequences and frantic pacing, plus 4 points. Whether it's an exhilarating car chase or an unforgettable fistfight, the best action films make trademark sequences their audience will remember. Think the lobby shootout in The Matrix. The Raid has some particularly memorable segments, which are still rattling around my brain. The hole drop apartment firefight is straight out of the madcap ending to Leon, the Professional. Snipers guard the windows, tenants bum rush the door, and the only escape is chopping through the floor with a fire axe, only to find more feisty tenants below. We get bits of old boy style hallway fighting, with a cornered Rama taking on a minor hit squad. And there's the horror movie Machete Gang chase, our heroes riding a hair's breadth away as the gang stalks the halls. And other than a few breaks in the conflict, it's at full throttle the entire time. I ended the movie so worn out I needed a nap, but so full of adrenaline that I wanted to run 10 miles. You can watch a clip of the stairwell shootout and hole drop sequence with the link at this point in the transcript on YouTube over at Rotten Tomatoes Movie Clips. Good thing number 4, handheld cameras and documentary film style, plus 3 points. To propel its realistic feel, director-editor Gareth Evans and crew shot and edited The Raid to resemble a documentary. We follow the actions of Rama and his teammates in an up-close and personal way, and the camera and editing don't draw attention to themselves. You won't find slow-motion bullet time from The Matrix or stylized camera effects here. To shoot the film, the crew used handheld cameras with the assistance of what are called fig rigs to keep things stable. Sometimes handheld cameras send a movie straight to my naughty step. They can be a big no-no because they make the dreaded shaky cam movie. Thankfully, the camera work is nimble and steady, swiveling with the action without bumping around. Good thing number 5, few cuts in the action, plus 3 points. You know those martial arts movies where the camera cuts so many times during a fist fight that it's almost impossible to follow the action? Filmmakers use that dizzying technique to speed up the pace and or make the audience feel like the opponents are fighting more quickly and skillfully than they are. Because its fight choreography is so fluid and its cast talented, The Raid can limit the number of cuts during action sequences without losing its frenetic feel. And while most movies cut away from impacts, it doesn't. When a face is about to collide with a cement pillar, we see, or at least seem to see, it hit that pillar. And the audience says, ouch, which is a lot more effective than ouch being an implied sort of thing. Good thing number 6, limited computer-generated graphics, plus 2 points. The Raid has a good CGI to practical effects ratio. It relies on CGI when necessary, but doesn't overdo it. For example, CGI is used to add extra floors of the building to the set they built for the Atrium firefight, or make realistic firing effects on the guns. Airsoft rifles were used in the production rather than real firearms. But we don't see CGI where it doesn't belong, like dominating the fight choreography. Okay, so let's get into the not as good things about the Raid. Not as good thing number 1. Don't great films have plots? Minus 2 points. Famous film critic Roger Ebert criticized The Raid for, among other things, being a soulless movie without much of a plot. Quote, a visualized video game that spares the audience the inconvenience of playing it. End quote. Harsh, Mr. Ebert! It also shows he hasn't played many modern video games. But the famous critic is somewhat correct. It feels like there's more yelling than actual dialogue. And without spoiling it, the plot tries to assert itself by revealing deeper connections between some of the Brimob team and the criminals. And though they added to the movie, the twists didn't knock me out of my chair. But I mostly disagree with Mr. Ebert's criticism. The light plot gives the audience just enough to hope Rama and his companions can make it out alive while keeping the frenetic pace moving. And the documentary style of the film could be compromised if it resorted to heavier-handed storytelling techniques. Dramatic scenes of a character monologuing about the nature of combat? Not here. While the main characters may not have terrible depth, they have motivations, such as Rama's desire to survive so he can return to his pregnant wife. Still, a pinch more drama outside of fighting would have been welcome. So we'll deduct a bit here, but not much. Not as good thing number 2. Lucky for you, we only bring guns to gunfights and knives to knife fights. Minus 0 points. Even with its more realistic style, the Raid can't hide every rail of its roller coaster ride. There are gunfights at the beginning of the movie, but when the heroes run out of ammunition, the villains largely carry knives or fight with fists from that point on. And though they tire, the heroes and villains take shot after shot to the body that would land them in a hospital or deathbed but keep on truckin', oblivious or immune to internal bleeding. But people only stop to eat or pee in a book if it advances the plot, and it's for the best if we, the audience, cooperate with these breaks in true realism. So I'll note this fact but not deduct any points here. Not as good thing number 3. Ladies? Minus 2 points. Unless I missed more of them, there are only 2 women in this entire movie, and they are given a generous 10 lines at most. One is pregnant, the other is sick in bed. Not exactly empowering. You would think some female officers or thugs would be there somewhere, even in a stereotypically male-dominated movie. Okay, so adding it up, the Raid scores 21 arbitrary points. On my scale of let's not watch, should I watch, or go watch this movie, I'm giving it my go watch rating. While making the Raid, the crew didn't have enough budget to buy a real riot van for the Brimob team. They had to buy a regular van on the cheap and modify it to look the part. The makeshift riot van broke down several times, and the filmmakers had to gather the crew together and push start it to get it running again. That's why I love this film. For about $1 million US, Gareth Evans and a talented team used limited technology to make a movie that punches so far above its weight that it's one of the best in its genre. But if you think I appeal to your sensibilities here, think again. Action fans, you'll enjoy this movie, but it'll give you a bruise. A nasty one that takes weeks to heal. The Raid Redemption's Legacy. So what would we say is the legacy of The Raid? Well, director Gareth Evans, lead actor choreographer Iko Uwais, and lead choreographer Yayan Ruhian returned for an action-packed sequel. The movie also features Indonesian pencak silat martial arts and picks up mere minutes after the first one ends. I won't go into that sequel since it will be a follow-up episode of this channel at some point. I'm telling you, yeah, any fan of the action in this one will enjoy the action in that one. Though many wished for a third installment of the raid, director Gareth Evans, to paraphrase, felt things had wrapped up neatly for main character Rama after part 2 and wanted to pursue other projects. He went on to create the television series Gangs of London, which looks well received. Having starred in this movie and a previous one with Gareth Evans, Morantu, Iko Uwais caught the world's attention. He has appeared in more Indonesian films, such as the Netflix-distributed The Night Comes For Us. And he's been in American productions like Netflix's Wu Assassins or movies like Keanu Reeves' Man of Tai Chi, Snake Eyes' G.I. Joe Origins, and Expendables. However the heck you say that garbage title. I hate it when they embed numbers into them. If you're a writer, please don't do stupid things like that. It's always dumb. Joe Taslim, who played Sergeant Jaka, has appeared in the television show Warrior. He's been in films too, such as Fast and the Furious 6 and Star Trek Beyond, and more important to me than all of that, he was Sub-Zero in the 2021 Mortal Kombat reboot. The film also helped bring worldwide attention to Indonesian cinema, and action films ever since are often influenced by the raid's realistic, grounded style and emphasis on long camera takes with few cuts. Instead of, say, the classic Bruce Lee movies where a seemingly invincible protagonist knocked down foe after foe balletically, the raid helped introduce a brutal, desperate vision of fight choreography. An American remake? Before we leave this review, Netflix is apparently out to remake the raid. Sigh. I'll hold final judgment on this until it happens. Still, even with the writer, director, and editor of the original, Gareth Evans, among the producers, I'm nervous about the idea. I fear the American release will scrap the Pencak Silat fight choreography, taking away the Indonesian art form within and one of the features that make the film stand out. And it's the subject of another article, but when successful foreign films get remade by Americans for American audiences, I cringe inside. It allows new audiences to be introduced to a potentially watered-down version of a game-changing film rather than the original. And it's frustrating that there's still an accurate or imagined perception that Western audiences can't deal with subtitles in foreign language films. But if Netflix and their all-powerful algorithm, like a crystal ball for audience interests, are remaking The Raid, it's further proof you should check it out. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on The Raid Redemption, directed by Gareth Evans. If you like this episode, would you please leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform? Reviews help new channels like mine get discovered, and I would appreciate your taking a minute or two to share your thoughts. If you've got a comment or a question, check in with me on Blue Sky using the link in the transcript, or you can search for it at not-ni-theaters.bsky.social. Yeah, just use the link in the transcript. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegged Media, LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. Introduction music, Strength of the Titans by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Exit music, Voxel Revolution by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Additional music, Raving Energy by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Goodbye for now.